It's a lot to cover in a short amount of time. All right. Well, first of all, this meeting here is a reset button. I think that we need to refocus, recommit, and almost hit a restart. We've been traveling. We started this 300 people in 3 weeks, and then like it was like trip after trip after trip. And so I think we're just kind of like off kilter a little bit, and that's okay. This is not about pointing out what you haven't done. It's just a reset button, right? And it happens all the time in business. And then we have some new people like Ashley and Whitney and Alicia that's joined the group. So that's great. So we can reignite this momentum. And I think a lot of times, momentum is reignited when consistency starts, right? So this is all about being more consistent. And that's why I kind of wanted to just see where you guys were at. And I was asking those questions. And there was really no right or way to answer. I know Stephanie was like, I don't know, what you were really looking for. When you read the sentence and you reply, it's right, right? Like everyone is in a different place and you're going to express your feelings a different way. Some people might be more business focused, some might be more personal, but that's what's on your heart. And that's where I just need to know where you're at, right? So thank you for being very honest and open. And now really we just want to talk about what we're building next. Now, what I think where we're at right now as a group, I think we should just start over and like reset, meaning if you started your 303 weeks, I think today should be day one for you, or tomorrow should be day one for you, whether you have a full day today. And that's kind of going, hold on, I think everyone, if you could just press mute for me, so I don't have to make it where you guys can't unmute yourself, and that's kind of tedious too. Okay, that's it. Hi, Tess. I just saw you pop in. Tracy, what's up? Hey, Danielle. Okay. Um, so let's quickly go over a couple of things with the 303 weeks. All right. So if you're new to this, the goal is to contact 300 people in pretty much 21 days. Okay. And that looks like about 15 contacts, reach outs per day. Now, sometimes as you start building your funnels, the reach outs can also be follow ups, right? So that's kind of still reaching out or follow up. So if you did 300 people and you've now doing that follow up process, that also counts. The goal is, and I can think back to when I first started, Ricky and I, our goal was to add one person. I was supposed to add one person to the team a week. He was supposed to add three because I was doing more of the training and coaching of the team. So that was our goal. So for you guys, every week you should have a goal of like at least 1 to 3, I think, exposures. Now that's on a low side for this group, but also at the same time, I know a lot of you have full-time jobs, right? So as long as you're presenting 1 to 3 times a week, you have that movement going. You want to bring on at least 1 to 3 people a week as well. Now, in the beginning, it's hard to do that because you don't have your recruiting funnel like filled, right? So that's going to take some time. But this week is really about momentum. I think week 2, we'd probably really focus on exposures, and week 3 is more closings. That's like the weekly goals for us as we move forward. If you're not doing personal growth, that is a must. Like it is a must, must, must. It's almost like if you guys go to the gym and you don't stretch, it's a must, 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 must. You cannot grow unless you stretch, and you cannot grow your business unless you stretch your mind. So if you're not doing at least 30 minutes a day, okay, and at this level, at this group, I say it all the time, like it should be hours a day. Like there should be nothing else in your life that, I mean, that your times when you're not doing calls or presenting or with your family, you should be self-developing. And it's not just always self-development. It just could be sermons as well. It doesn't matter. They're both the same to me. One is obviously more focused on, network marketing stuff, which I think is good for the newer levels, people like Ashley and Whitney. I think you guys should definitely focus on network marketing videos, and that's in the Ucrew Nation playlist of self-development. And they go right in the order we want you to read that. Now, if you are a little bit further in your walk with, network marketing, then I gravitate more to spiritual stuff because I think that everything that we learn comes from that, but you're not necessarily needing to understand the way the structure of network marketing works, right? So, another thing I would like you guys to do is start doing some daily consistency scores. And I want these in the focus group. And the way this is going to look, and later I'll copy and paste this so you don't have to write it all out, but just a scale of self-awareness. I think always looking in the mirror. And this group is, I want to build that community where we're all looking at each other together. And that's why instead of having you guys individually send me your struggles. I think sometimes it's nice to have a support group, and like just to hear everybody's struggles and like I'm not the only one that feels like I'm failing. Um, I think it was maybe Stephanie, when you had said, let me just see here, you had said something that really stuck out to me. You were saying how you saw what Tess has, what she does and how organized she is, and you feel like you'd be doing more and maybe you're not doing enough. You need to really focus on the good things of consistency that you're doing, right? Like, yeah, you don't have the big wins, but consistency is a big win. That is what builds a business. The big wins don't, right? I can have one big win and don't show up forever. I can go to the gym and have one really good day, but what's going to win? The one good day or the consistency over 3 months, right? So I think the way that you need to start looking at your business is the glass half full, not empty. And I know I'm asking do these reflections, right? So the reflections are good, but at the same time, sometimes those reflections are the real self-talk that you're doing. And so I wanted just to say, like, yeah, comparison is the thief of joy. And yes, Tess is very, very organized in that manner. And I actually want her speaking about that at regionals because I'm very impressed with that. But at the same time, you're doing really good where you're at. So a scale of awareness, this is not about perfection. It's not to make you feel in shame in any way. None of this is, right? This is a group of just, love and connection and growth. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 would be like full effort, right? Like you're doing all your follow-ups, you're doing your reach outs, you're hitting all those daily goals, and be honest with yourself, right? I mean, you're only cheating yourself. Like if you're at the gym and your trainer says do 3 sets of 4 and you do 2 sets of 3, you're only cheating yourself, and I think that's where my success has been is like I'm most accountable to me. I always have been. Every year, for those of you like sometimes they're like, oh, you're so in shape. Like, no, sometimes out of the year I don't stay in shape, but I have 2 times a year I hold myself accountable at my birthday and Christmas. That's 6 months apart. And every year I have to be at a certain weight and a certain health status and have a certain routine. And I reflect on my life. I do a self-evaluation. Remember, like in corporate America, when you sit down with your boss and you're like, okay, once a year they tell you how you do. I do that with myself every single year, twice a year. And that might be something you don't do, but I suggest you do because you can be accountable to me. You could be accountable to your upline, but at the end of the day, like you have to start taking that accountability for yourself. And that's what we tell our children, right? Like, don't eat the whole bag of cookies, like stop, right? Or don't eat 5 bags of chips for lunch. Instead, make yourself a sandwich. Like these are the accountabilities that you just don't have in life, but in your business, but also on higher levels, right? So 10 would be high effort. And then 1 would be like, no intentional action, like you did not do anything. So in between, I'll give you a gauge and I'll have little things that I'll make notes for you. But I would like you guys just to throw that in the chat every day. Like today, my consistency score is right. And then maybe do it in the evening, like put an alarm in your phone for 9 o'clock at night, whenever you go to bed, like just to throw it in there and we can all kind of keep each other going. Like, and don't feel we're all leaders here, right? So you have a voice in this group. It's not just my voice. I just don't want it to be me. Every single one of you run a nice team, right? A good team. And so what I would love for you to do is be like, man, great. If you see Danielle not being in a consistency score, maybe, Colleen's like, girl, like what's going on? Like, let's go, like, congratulate each other, but also push each other. All right. Let's see here. I want to talk a little bit about some of the things you guys shared here because I think there's a lot of training in that. One thing I love are huddles like this because, sometimes when you have a Tuesday night training, it's what we feel that we should speak on, and we really don't know the pulse of the team. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look through some of the things that you shared, and then what I'm going to do is give some feedback there, and then you're welcome to unmute if you have something you want to say or ask in this section. So Stephanie, I talked about, a little bit about what you said here. And my notes are really kind of just that, is like where you said you could do better with follow up. Follow up is super important, girl. Like that is where your money is at. So we can reach out a million times, but we have to remember just the ratio 7 to 13 times before someone says yes. So you're missing it. Anytime you're not following up, just think of my story. My girlfriend followed up with me for 7 years. So when you think you're bothering them, you're not. They're just not ready, right? So be very, very consistent in that. I want you to be more consistent in your follow-ups than anything else, because the fortune is where the follow-up is. And again, with the big wins, your mind should not be heavy. Like you are doing all the right things in the sense of the self-development, the consistency. You show up to the meetings and you're always growing in those ways. And that's going to catch up to you. You're going to meet that right person, but maybe that big win isn't there yet because you still have a little bit more room to grow and you couldn't handle that growth, right? Like if Danielle would have had Annalisa join her team a year and a half ago, it would have never worked, right? She could never have leaded her the way she is today. So that those prayers that she had, and I can tell you, she's had them, right? She wanted those big wins over and over and over again and prayed for them and hit her head against the wall about 1,000 times. But at the same time, God's only going to give you what you can handle, and you're just not there yet. So just trust the process. Is there anything you want to say to me from what you sent to me?
Um, no, I feel like where I'm dropping is with my team. I know that I'm really good at recruiting. Like I know that that's a strong point. It's and you mentioned it a minute ago, it's feeling like I'm bothering them, which that's a huge thing for me. I don't want to push them too much or bother them or them get pissed off at me and then be like, I'm done. But I've got to understand too, if that's going to happen, they're going to do it regardless whether I reach out or not. They have to be there in their mind. So I am working on that, just not wanting to be a bother or piss somebody off. I think that's my big thing.
I think if you have those feelings and again, not shaming or anything, you might not know your team well enough, right? So
I
if you feel like you do know them really
No,
good?
I agree that I don't. Like that thing, I think
Yeah.
Colleen shared it this morning about the culture. I think that's where Lenny and I need to improve on having that. We love the culture with you guys, but he and I could do better providing that culture within our personal team, our downline. So I definitely agree with we need to get to know them better. Maybe do some more team building with them.
Yeah, team building stuff like a Sunday evening, if someone has like a house in a central location, everybody bring a dish and do like a small group. That is where the magic happens, and reinvesting, not money, because if you're not making it, you can't reinvest it yet, but time. Time is just as important as money, and even probably even more. I know people that sometimes just say, hey, buy this, do that, whatever. But I really respect people that take the time with their team. So I would say look at the culture. It's the holiday season right now, so it's people like to get together. They're looking for a reason to get dressed up or whatever, make it fun, do a flannel party, do an all orange, like just find a way that doesn't cost people money. They have it in their closet, make it fun. People like to get into themes. It gives people a reason or something to talk about when they don't know each other. That's why you see me do themes so much, because when you have a group of 300 people, no one
Mhm.
will talk to each other. But if I didn't know Whitney, I might come up to be like, oh my gosh, I like your hat, right? And then you look at Whitney and you're like, wow, she's so put together and beautiful. And she's like, I got it on Amazon. You're like, you got that on Amazon? Like, wow, she's just like me, right? So you find a commonality very quick, and she might be put together, but she was put together for 25 bucks. And that just made her so much more attractive as a person to me, right? So like you just find ways to create that for yourself and get to know your team. And it doesn't mean that when I say get to know your team, that you just call them to push them. Sometimes you don't talk about business at all, right? You need to develop those relationships, and you'll find the ones that have, the qualities you're looking for, and then you know that you can push them in certain ways without identifying their strengths and their weaknesses. It's hard to coach anyone. So that's
Mhm.
why in the beginning, if you think back to when the Jacksonville team launched, I was so engulfed in you guys. I got to know every single one of you. I invited you guys to everything. Not that I don't anymore. I don't do as many parties because now I'm doing them for the whole team. But I really invested to make sure I knew who I was working with. And I think that that would be great for you for you too. And it's a process, like you've built network marketing before, but not at this level. So you're doing a really good job. Celebrate the wins that you have and don't focus on the negative.
Okay.
All right, Ashley. So, I know that you have been through like some ups and downs a lot. And I will say your mind strength is so strong just as a person, not even in network marketing. And that is something that I see to be such an amazing factor for you to grow something very big. And sometimes when you have struggles in your business when you're first starting or when a team is first starting, those are just gifts because there's going to be another one that comes. You're going to be able to handle it better and you're not going to be like so freaked out about it. I was super impressed that, that you're so much more confident with your reach outs now. That was not you a couple of months ago, right? Like you were shaking in your boots. I literally have not wrote a script for you all week, like, or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month. And so that is such growth for you that you know that what's here is actually worth saying and writing and sharing. So that's a huge win. The edification on the Zoom, like raise your hand if when you first started doing Zooms for instead of like a connect call Zoom, were you nervous? Like everyone gets nervous, right? Because now I'm looking at you, the person's looking at you, and like sometimes you're scared to read your notes. It's okay to read your notes, right? Like you don't have to memorize everything about me, but it is important when you're doing edifications to remember that edification puts your mentor on a pedestal. So if you're saying random things, like I was edified yesterday, so weird on the phone, and I was like, okay, so there was nothing that validated what she was saying. She was in a magazine or she was here. Like, like Prosper Magazine's a big magazine. Business for Home is a big magazine. Like, so you have to add a credibility to the things that you say. So make sure as you're doing these things, you just hit the high points. And if you're nervous, just do 3 or 4. You don't have to do them all, but just make it make sense to the person that you're edifying. But other than that, I think you do a really great job. You did a phenomenal job at that meeting. Um, I just hope you're walking around with a posture because I mean, I've seen so much growth in you. It was just beautiful and it was the perfect timing for you to peak. You're peaking right now. So, anything from me, Ashley, that you want to ask?
No, thank you. I guess main thing is, I guess I probably should have been asking more for growth because I am reaching out to new people and they're actually getting back to me. So I probably do need to reach out to you more and ask for more scripts because I mean, I've just been reaching out to them. They're like, sure. And so I'm not telling anything. So maybe what I'm doing is right. But maybe if we share on this thing, some text scripts that have worked well, do y'all do stuff like that normally?
Yeah, we do. Actually, Colleen has just put a bunch in. Did you get it
Oh,
uploaded into?
Megan, I haven't really heard from her in a few days, but I will continue to
Okay.
ask.
Will you text her right now again and put me in the chat this time? And just say, hey, Megan, Francoise is really getting on me about these getting uploaded. Or if she wants to put them in there, she can put them in there. But does anyone else have access to boards on here? You do, Lisa? Maybe Lisa, if she does it, maybe she can help put it in there. There's just some new scripts. So yeah, do me a favor, you guys. If you have a good script, I did this in Elite. If you sent your good script in Elite, it's already in there. But if you haven't sent one in and you find one that is working, put it in the focus group and then we'll move it over to board. So it'll be in the 2025. Yeah, and also when I'm doing these Zooms with y'all, write these scripts down. And, I would probably like, let's get those put in there. Sometimes I don't have time to do that, but I know, Colleen, we had a couple of really great ones that were easy to move around and stuff. Like we can put those in there. But yeah, if you're getting good results, Ashley, like you probably shouldn't switch it. Don't try to fix what's not broken, but your follow-ups, are they leading to calls? Because if that's not happening when they say yes and they're not going to calls, then that's where the disconnect comes. That's where you probably need the coaching.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they are. I have about 13 right now. They're like, I'm just trying to get nailed down a call. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll keep what I'm doing. I don't know. But then I do want to see what's working for everyone else so I can actually
Yeah,
close.
I mean, you can always add more tools to your toolbox,
Yes.
right? But yeah, I think you just don't look around too much. One thing with Ashley, she's super powerful, but um she always second guesses her power and what she's doing, right? And I think it's her, I don't know, anyone feel like you just don't want to do something wrong or go back to when you first started, you just don't want to do anything wrong. You can never do anything wrong. You can always do it better, but never wrong. I mean, you're just reaching out to your friends and I mean, there's nothing you can really do. If you're doing it from your heart, you're doing it 100% right, regardless of what you ever say. All right, so Whitney, okay, so you are rebuilding structure here. First of all, celebrate your 2 influential signups. Those are hard call. I mean, those are hard calls probably to make because they're very influential. And probably you knew they could be very, very skeptical, right? You know, like
Right.
one, I think you said he's super skeptic, and he was like so open once we started talking. And you know, it was interesting. So Whitney introduced us to like a really well-known hairstylist. He does all the fashion shows in like Knoxville, but also in New York. Like he's a really big deal. And he's like, oh gosh, this guy is going to be super skeptic or whatever. And to come to find out, he's never probably shared this with her, that he has an autoimmune system disease that has affected him, that where he was like almost like couldn't hardly move for 7 years. And so where she was thinking business, he's thinking like, I'm gonna finally heal my body and then
Yeah.
tell everybody about it, and then make it a business. So it goes back to never judge a book by its cover, right? And even at this level, we do it. You can say you don't, but we do. I do the same thing. Sometimes like, oh, I don't, they wouldn't want to do it. But you have to fight that urge and just do it anyway. Do it scared, because the results might be something totally different, you know? I'm so glad you did that. Let's see. So I think here, you have to find a place that is going to be your 3 area, right? Like I think that's dedicating a workspace is going to be very important to you, where you can leave things and come back to them. Like my workspace is, this is my dining room table and this is my workspace. When I come and sit here, I know I get things done. Where I do my Bible, I do my Bible over there, and that's where I do my Bible, right? Like when I want to do Canva work, I kind of go in a different way. I always have a place in my home, and that's the hard part about being at home, is really organizing that. So finding and identifying that workspace, I think, is going to be important. Um, and then you had said something here about hold on one second. Catch-ups. Yeah, I mean, you've been traveling though, Whitney, right? So
Yeah, I mean, I think that has a lot to do with it. It's like the to-do list never gets totally checked off each day. And then it's like the to-do list just gets longer and longer and longer. And then I've got this chaos in my house. And I'm like, this weekend, I really focused on trying to like create a better energetic environment where I was looking focused, not there yet, but I may have to use my kitchen dining room table, and just take it over.
So are you somebody who loves like lists and getting things done? And if it's not done at the end of the day, it like gets you going. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a big person on a list. It doesn't have to be all done, but there are certain things in my life I've had to let go. Like if I look over there right now, I have like 4 pillows on the ground and blankets everywhere. I have baby wipes on my counter, which probably was from wiping my dog's butt, right? Like these are the things that are around my house that bother me, but I have to like let it go. Like I like all
Yeah.
my pillows in my house to have the karate chop in it, you know?
Mhm.
So like that's kind of like my mind, but those things do talk to me like as I walk by and don't think I'm crazy, but they're like, fix me, like put me in my right place, you know? So those things you just kind of have to let go, but there's certain things that are non-negotiable. So find the non-negotiable. My kitchen has to be clean. Like I do not like my kitchen dirty, because then I am focusing on those things instead of focusing on this. So just find that good balance for yourself. Create an environment that has good energy, light a candle, find a space, and just reset. You've been back now for about a week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been about a week. Yeah. So, by probably tomorrow, the next day, you should have a good reset going in your house, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, choose progress over perfection, always. Okay. Anything you want to personally ask me?
No, I mean, yes, but I don't want to necessarily bog this Zoom down with that. But I would really I've never worked from home. I've always been, standing all the time, talking to people all the time, being creative and active. That's my job. So now when I'm at home, I'm just I would like to figure out a schedule. I thought about getting that motion app. like just to throw in all the things I want to do in a day and it to tell me when to do them. Like I just haven't wrapped my head around that yet. Again, that was pretty much the focus of, what I wrote this morning. It's just staying focused on work hours. Like I've never had work hours at home. So that's just been a hard thing for me.
So for me, it's still a struggle, to be honest, but I think I've learned never start your day until it's finished. So every night before I go to bed, I make my schedule. And so I have things that I need to do every day, right? One, we like to read our Bibles in the morning. Sometimes it's not the morning, it's midday, evening, and sometimes I miss it. But Bible time, we like to walk our dogs together. That's like my husband and I's time. We like to go to the gym. And I need to take my vitamins. Those are things I really got to work on, right? And so I just make my schedule for that day and I check those boxes and I put them in there. So if tomorrow you have an event at your daughter's school from 9 to 11, you might not be able to do your Bible time in your gym in the morning, and that's when you usually do it, right? So you just move it to another time. So if you schedule those things, or if you do it on a Sunday night, that's helpful too. If you know your schedule for the week with the kids and stuff, plug in your stuff like that. And then there's some non-negotiables, right? Like with you with small children, the small children here, that have them in this group, like Danielle, I tell Danielle I don't know the hours exactly, but from 3 o'clock to 5, she needs to block out for her kids. She needs to be present when they come home. She needs to not be on a connect call. If they've had a bad day, if something's happened, and as the kids get older, if something happened with their friends, that's their time to talk, and you need to be present for that. After they have that quantity time, they don't really want to see you anyway. So when someone's like, oh, my kids are home in the evening, I need to be home, I can't do calls for 5 hours. Well, guess what? I can promise you your kids are not sitting with you for 5 hours. And if they are, it's probably a little weird. They need to socialize, go outside and play and do their homework and do all those things. So I think that just finding those things that you have to that are non-negotiable, put in your schedule, trying it daily. Can you get the app? Great. Anyone have a suggestion other than what I said for her being someone new working from home? Colleen, yeah, I
Nobody.
see oh, there you go. Who's talking? You have to unmute if you're going to
I
talk.
muted. I was saying sometimes it does take a little bit of time to get into the groove, find out where you fail. I do think when it's time to sit down and focus, putting, turning your notifications off. I've noticed that I do so much better with my reach outs. Even if it's for 15, 20 minutes, I am so locked in and I get so much more done in that 15, 20 minutes than when this text comes through, this person's here, But I think just as you develop a rhythm and be more intentional with it, you'll see what works for you in your space with your time. But block scheduling those 15 minutes here and there, I think is just always critical for every single person. Always.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I'll add
that's
something to that too.
Hi, Tracy.
Hey, Whitney, beautiful. Hey, so one thing that of course, we've listened to Eric Worre, those that have been in the industry for quite some time. We've listened in on some of his things, and one thing that he did say every time I've listened to him, he's gone over talking to your kids, and really just and talking to them and letting them know that what you're doing. So you may have already done that, Whitney, but I know as a mom, even with a 26 and 28-year-old, they can get, you're always on your phone or, and just really, having a conversation with them. Again, you may have already done that, but just kind of plugging that in there, that really helps for them to see. And then, really rewarding them when you have a big win, for, hey, you took your time, I took time away from you, and then, you could do a reward for them for that too. So just
That's a great idea. And I will say my kids are not used to me being on my phone at all because I'm anti-phones. It's been problems in past relationships. I'm be present. And so being on my phone so much, they got a little annoyed in the beginning, and what you said is brilliant, but I did say for the next year, we have a big goal and a big dream, and that takes a lot of hard work, so we're teaching them that.
Adding them into it, that it's a we thing.
Yeah, but I love the reward. That's an awesome idea.
Reward. Just a thought.
Yeah, we high five and stuff
that's great.
woohoo, but that's it.
We did that too. We did a dream board with the kids, and then that dream board was their goals. And every time we hit a rank or volume number, they would get something, right? So like I remember when we hit Black Diamond, I think we all went to like Legoland or whatever. So they just get to pick. And so when you leave that door, they're like, you go girl, you go mom, you go get them because they're wanting their PlayStation or they're wanting the new game or the new outfit or whatever. So those things are good. I love that, Tracy. Thank you for adding that. And also Colleen. All right, Danielle, let's go here. Well, I mean, when you write this, I'm like, I don't even know how you're walking with all you do with all your kids and all the things that you show up at. I just really honor you for just being such a good leader. You're always very consistent. Um, I don't know what we can talk about, whatever it is that you want to talk about privately, of course, but the things that you're kind of struggling with are just normal, right? I think you could be celebrating right now, all the new launches that you're having, all the people in your pipeline. So you do have some wins there. And I think that sometimes we just focus on all the negative. So you're doing
Yeah.
really good. You always are such a great example to your team as leadership and commitment and focus and sacrifice and discipline. So I think that right there, even when you're not at 110%, you're still a very good role model for your team. And people need that. People need to see that. A lot of leaders don't do what they say. They tell people to do things, but they actually don't do it themselves, which is one of the reasons why still at this stage, Ricky and I still recruit. Because we know that we're telling you to recruit. If we're telling you to do home meetings, we have to do home meetings, or we have to support home meetings, so it's always good to be that leader that does what you tell the people to do. And I mean, other than what we'll talk about privately, is there anything you want to ask me?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Sorry, I just had to get in my car to pick up Willa from school. So I'm like talking and zooming and driving now.
Yeah,
No,
problem.
I don't think so. I mean, I think for me, I've just struggled, I get like really bad, like mom guilt. That's a real thing. I get that, but I get like mom guilt, like with things in my business. Like some days I feel like I'm carrying a lot of the calls and stuff like for the team. So I don't like by the end of the day, it's 9 o'clock at night and I'm getting done with my last CC and like I need to sit down on my couch next to my husband and I don't need to be on my phone for 30 minutes sending out reach outs, starting conversations with people that I can't finish because I'm trying to do my own recruiting. And so I have like kind of a back and forth like struggle with staying consistent with my own personal reach outs like on certain days. Like I have other days where I'm not as busy and I totally can, but I also am one of those people where like if I'm telling my team, hey, I'm committing to doing 10 reach outs a day and I only do 3 that day, I like am almost like holding myself accountable to a fault where like I get upset with myself when I don't do it, but I'm also trying to make sure that I'm creating the balance in my life that you're always coaching me to do with, being a mom and a wife and all the things. So that's really just kind of the main thing. I think I struggle with, that part.
Yeah. And I can't even tell you to get up earlier because you get up like before the sun comes up. It's like,
I
hey, just get
literally
up
get
an
up
hour
at
and a half
5.
earlier. You cannot do anymore. I think you can only do what you can do. These are goals, not to make you feel, I think they're bars to hit, right? Like I remember when I was doing competing, and I always go back to the gym because I think it's just people can see those things. Everyone's like, been to the gym and experienced them and stuff. I remember they would tell me to do certain things, and there are sometimes my body just couldn't do them, right? And I wasn't cheating myself. I went to exhaustion, but I knew I was giving my 110%. I think you should know that if you're giving your 110% and you're keeping the balance and you're doing what's most important, God, family, business, you're doing it right. It's not always going to be perfect, right? Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about progress. Now, when you're looking at your reach outs, if you don't do anything on a Tuesday, that's okay, right? Your consistency goal will be 0. But guess what? On the next day, you might have an hour that day because the kids have an after school thing and you're just sitting there watching them do practice for 2 hours. So you can make that up. It doesn't have to be that day. You can also, I think, for someone like you that's busy, or like Whitney that has kids and, Ashley, and you have the younger kids, it's okay to do weekly goals, right? And do what works for you. So if I'm saying 15 reach outs a day, maybe on a Wednesday is a really good day and you do 30 reach outs, right? Or you do 90 reach outs, whatever. So just look at it a little differently. And if you do that, then your consistency score, you need to look at your business, the way you're running your run, and do that accordingly, right? Don't give yourself a 0 every day if you know every Tuesday is not a good day for you to reach out. So I would do some self-reflection, and these are just goals for you guys to follow. My also suggestion is just don't do this by yourself. Get your team involved. Every one of you have at least 2 to 5 to 10 to 15 or more people on your team. Do a 300 in 3 weeks, or maybe that's too big, right? Maybe do 100 in 3 weeks. Look at your team and find some runners. If you can find 1 or 2 or 3 people to do 300 in 3 weeks, your business is going to explode. Because if they don't do 300, they're going to at least do 100. And that was probably 100 more than they were doing in the first place. So, take these things, these nuggets that I'm giving you, and then regurgitate them to your team. That's what leadership is. When I first started, everything my leader would tell my husband and I, we would regurgitate to our team. We were always doing his trainings. Like we were just taking notes of his and then regurgitating it. So that's what I really want you guys to do, is not just to do this run alone. It's kind of boring. If you ever went and said, hey, I'm going to do a 5K or a 10K by myself, you're like, no, you want a buddy to run with, right? Get a buddy. Also in this group, we all have accountability partners. So if you don't have an accountability partner yet, then you probably need to get one. Ashley, Whitney, you guys could be accountability partners because you guys are newer to the team, but you guys are kind of doing that already. So I'm kind of hesitant of that. Does anyone not have one in here yet? No? Okay. Well, you all have to be it because everyone has one. Oh, you don't have one yet? Okay. So, Tess, you're going to be with Alicia because Alicia joined, but she's sick today, which if all you guys can pray today for Dee, she's still not doing well. I mean, and now Alicia has a fever, so I pray against that in Jesus' name. But I hope that she got a fever from her kids having a runny nose, but just crazy. Just crazy, crazy. So, okay. Danielle, does that sound pretty good for you? Yeah, we're good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Lisa, um, yeah, I think not going on that retreat, I think for anyone that wasn't there, especially if they're an elite, it probably did feel heavy because you see so much fun and so many connections and so much growth that happens from that. But it's not to beat yourself down. Sometimes it's good to fail forward and it's good to feel that, right? Like maybe last year when the first year we did it, maybe you weren't as active and so grown yet in leadership. I think you were just kind of starting and growing into yourself. Now you deserve to be in that room 100,000%. But sometimes it's good to not to feel what it feels like not to, and that fear of failure drives you. There are things in my life that when I failed, I remember the first time I did my nursing test, I failed, and it drove me to study more, and like literally the second time was so easy because I just studied and studied and studied and studied. Yet I had distractions in my life. I was with somebody that was literally beating me to death all the time. So I think I just wasn't in the right headspace at that time. But you just have to go through those things that just makes you stronger. So next year you're going to be there and think of the things that you could have done better, right? And you have to recruit. And what you lack in skill, you make up in numbers. Have a bigger list. If it's harder for you to get, 3 people on a connect a week, then instead of doing 300 through 600, do 600, right? So you just have to increase your numbers, and that's going to be some self-reflection that you have to do on your own. But yeah, don't beat yourself up. You'll be there next year. I have no doubt. I've watched you grow so much, and I think you definitely deserve to be there. And it's natural, when you don't hit goals and stuff, your belief in yourself will waver. But it sounds like you're doing some really good mindset training, and so that gives you like a good bounce back, right? Like we all go through it. Some days I'll do a Zoom or I'll do a presentation for one of you guys or a Connect call, and I just feel like, man, I bombed that. And I'm super hard on myself. And then I get a text from you, someone saying, "Oh my gosh, it was the best call ever." I'm just like, it's the enemy tells you these lies, and you have to take them and cast them to the sea of forgetfulness. You have to be aware of your thoughts. Stinking thinking will get you every single time. The lazy thinking that you do when you're cooking, you're cleaning, you're driving, those things will get you in trouble. You almost have to always be on mentally, because if you let your mind go and waver, that's where things just really start to self-destruct for you. And it's one seed planted can grow into something very, very dangerous. So I would say that would be some of the things I want to share with you. Anything that
You just
personally you would
you
like
hit
to ask
something
me?
really hard. You hit the nail on the head for me because I did fail a class in nursing school and I came back stronger. I all throughout my life, when I have not achieved a goal that I set for myself, I surpassed it tenfold. So it's like you evaluate what you do and you grow from it and you move on. You don't stay in it and you move on. You keep growing, and that's where I am. I know
Yeah.
I'll come back stronger.
You're an overcomer. I mean, like, there are a lot of people at my class failed. And no matter where you go to school for the nursing degree, you have to take the same state test, right? So I just remember some of my friends that failed, they never went back, and my father always said, it's okay to fall off the horse, but just get back up and ride. And I think that's important in your everyday little struggles, is just getting back on that horse. And whether you bomb a connect call, whether you think you bombed at a vacation, whether the reach out, you said the wrong thing, or you came on too strong, or you dropped the ball and they joined another team or another company. In the greater scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you keep on moving forward. And I know Colleen is just smiling, and her heart smiling to see your growth. Colleen, is there anything you want to jump in and say? I know you probably read everybody's of your team. Was there anything you wanted to add with Lisa?
Well, I mean, we talk a lot, so she knows she's so coachable, and yeah, she's just grown so much, and she absolutely deserves to be there. And I have no doubt she will be there. And I'll just leave it at that. She knows what to do.
That's right. Okay, awesome. All right, Tracy, Ricky said you're on retirement, so we need to talk about that. He said either that or she's changing clothes and shopping. No, just joking. Oh,
I'm
man.
running up and down the road like nobody's business. I leave
Yeah,
tomorrow for
okay.
Savannah. I get there and see my girls a couple days and then head to Jacksonville. Get back to Savannah a couple days and back to Wilmington.
Yeah, I mean, you're just in that busy season right now, right? And I think you're searching for a lot of things. Balance is one big thing that you're just not going to achieve. So you better let that go out the window. And I
Yeah.
think, by the looks of your car, I think you've accepted that, right? Not in a condescending way, right? But like you're
No.
living with things everywhere. You just
Living.
feel like this is my season. I got to take care of my mom. I have to still love my daughters. I still have to find the man of my dreams. Like you're just everywhere right now. But at the same time, you got to do what pays the bills too, and that has to be a high priority. And just making sure that you're doing the things that you've committed to within your business, because that consistency is going to be what's going to drive your business. But I do feel like I see the connects coming in through you and the reach outs and stuff. So I feel like there's a lot of wins there, personally, from just what I see from calls and stuff. I do want to encourage you to do home meetings when you're more settled, or get your teams to, and while you're traveling, try to support those teams where they're at. Like, obviously you're coming to Jacksonville. I do see you come to Jacksonville sometimes for some meetings, right? Are you
Yeah.
speaking at these when you come?
Yeah, I've done
Yes.
some, yeah, and
Okay.
some of them, and in fact, I have Marion, who's under Mary Jacobs. She is in part of the Pennsylvania team. She happened to have a beach house here in Wilmington, and she just got in last night. I'm driving out after this to meet her and work with her a little bit. We talked about getting a home meeting together. Unfortunately, she doesn't know anyone here yet. I told her, I said, well, we're just going to get out, start meeting people, and then we'll start building that. So to give you an update on the Wilmington area, I have a call tomorrow with Ricky on a friend here that owns a construction company. So it was worked out well with Ricky. He wants to build. And then I sent you that screenshot on that other guy that has, the investor for the medical men's health group here. So I'm building here, knowing that I'm going to be moving here. It is kind of early stages for building here, but yes, and once I get settled, which will be very soon, hopefully divorce is going to be final and I can settle my own place. I'm going to just start holding some meetings, and then, I'll get out and start meeting people and invite, kind of just I just sent a little funny meme to Lisa, just really not giving a, what anymore on things. And you just kind of have to take on some of that attitude, right? To just get going again. And that's kind of where I am, even though I've been overwhelmed with taking care of my family and just finding that balance, like to still be, sensitive to my girls who are working through the move and all of that. And then I'll tell you, for me, my big thing right now is personal development. I'm lacking in that area. I know that I am. In fact, if Colleen ever tells you purchase a book, go on right that day and do it. And I did go on. This is a book that you can read, or you can, if you guys are looking for a new book, remember, Colleen, you put that in there and said, I'm reading it.
Colleen, put it in the group, in the focus group.
Yeah, the Tim Tebow. I literally just came in last night.
Put the ones that you recommended, the links on Amazon there in the focus group too. Sorry,
Yeah,
Tracy.
so that's okay. No, it really, because it's hard with personal development. I mean, this is something that I've studied and then had coaching for 7 years, same person that Colleen did with Jeffrey Combs, that, the sometimes it just takes getting something new just to get started again. You can, and I'm a chapter reader more than a book reader. But just get in and read 10 pages and then all of a sudden you're back into it. It's kind of like starting back up at the gym again. And so
Yes.
that's where I know that is going to help me with everything else. It just balances things out for me. And I know that personally. That's why I said in there, I know what I need to do. I have the skill set. It's been learned. I've put the investment into that part and now it's just doing it. So that's where I am. Definitely can get stronger on my numbers. I still recruit.
Yeah, and I think even in these like areas that you're traveling to, like Wilmington and stuff, like I would probably start trying to build a network there of just friendships, not even having to recruit them right away, like at the gas station, if the one across
Oh, yeah.
you, like pumping gas, looks like a decent person. Hey, I just moved around here. Where's a good place to eat? Right. Like, and then, like you just make conversations. That's what we do when we're in Tennessee. Like we have met so many people at the gas station. Like,
Do what she's good at, asking them for their phone numbers.
gosh, anyway,
I did
quick.
get phone number. I did yesterday. 2 ladies. They loved. In fact, it happened to do with clothes. They loved my style, and they said,
Yeah.
Then we started talking, and they said, you need to come to the Wilmington garden parties where the billionaires are. Literally, that's what they said.
And you're like, yes, I'm looking for one.
I said, okay. I'm new to the area. I'm trying to meet some new people. And they were like, oh no, you got to start coming to the garden parties. It's every weekend. I've got her name, her number, and we've already texted. So I'm going to start building some of that up. That's the thing. I'm building this area here. Yeah. If I can.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. So I would just say, push forward. You're doing great. And, you're just in a busy season. I can remember my mom, she had a surgery and it just went totally backwards. It was like really tough. Some of you might have been around that time. Like I literally had to take a breathing, a step back and just breathe because she was full on care and Alzheimer's and dementia and that stuff. It's not an easy thing to walk through. Okay, so let's go to Colleen. We're almost done.
I was going to add for her, and Francoise, correct me if you don't think this is a good idea. I was saying for Tracy right now, for the last few months, while she's been so busy and doesn't really have like a home, I was like, well, then just do opportunity Zooms for your team. That way you're still quote unquote in front of the room. You're still getting yourself out there. You're still supporting your team in that way. And even though it's not an in-home, it's still just a way to kind of keep that consistency and just kind of keep it going.
Yeah, I agree. I need to get with Lisa's son and get one going for her. And then get Mary. I'm going to have to help Mary out with her going, what she's going through with her mom.
Okay.
So yeah, agree.
All right. So Colleen, let's see here. So family stuff, right? Dependable with Gabriella. What is that?
That's something that's been going on for a decade. Just her and I not that we don't get along well, but we don't like the same things. It's hard for me to connect with her. And then over the last few years, and I know we've talked about this and I always commit to doing better and then I don't, but she really, doesn't come to me anymore because her and Jason have developed such a close relationship, which I love. I think that's amazing. I think every girl needs a father like that, but it shouldn't have come at the detriment of me never being for her there for her over those last couple of years. And she's kind of learned that now. But in the last even month or so, I've been doing better with, even if it's just 15 minutes, whether it's at night or whatever, just whatever. Like my phone is away, no one's bothering us. We're just sitting there or saying yes more. I always tell her no to everything because everyone else tells her yes and takes her to Starbucks and does all the things. And I'm not doing that because I think it's disgusting. But yet here I am. I never spend any time with her. So just, yeah, so it's kind of similar to the mom guilt stuff and just trying to get back what we should have in a relationship. And I'm horrible at setting boundaries. There's been so many times where I was going to take her dress shopping for homecoming, but then someone needed a call or did something, and I'll take it every time. So I'm really bad at that. Really bad.
Yeah, you need not to. If you know, you got to look at the weight of the call. If it's a top builder in a company, take the call, right? But if it's not, then you need to be able to say, well, I'm not available at this time, but I am this time. I think as a leader, if you just give another time, right?
Yeah.
Like the one Tracy, you were like, can you do 4? I said, I can't do 4. Try Ricky. If not, try 4:30, right? Or I don't remember who it was on here. But
Whatever.
anyway, I think it's with you guys. But you just give another time or another day, right? It doesn't have to happen right now. You need that person still needs to work tomorrow. They can fill it with someone else. This is a very, very sensitive time for you and your daughter. Same with me. I'm very similar to you. Everyone tells my daughter yes. I've been telling her no. Like I pulled a credit card from her today, because I just feel like we've been gone so much that there's a little disconnect. And it's hard because they're going through so many emotions as teens. And I think at this age, hormonally, we might clash, right? Women might clash a little bit, and it's a power struggle, and she's so much like you. But don't give up and don't lose hope, I would say in that. But you need to be better at it. If you can get up every day and go to the gym and be consistent, there's no excuse you can't be consistent with your
Or
children.
even like in
Right. And
Tennessee, like
so,
she was crying about her friend and we're zooming with her. And meanwhile, you guys were taking the best picture of the whole week and I missed it. And like still to this day, I see that picture and I'm like, I'm almost like mad that I like, didn't get, but I was like, but I had to make
what
that choice at
picture?
that moment. So I'm glad I did it, but I was so
What
mad.
picture were you not in? I don't think, what
When we were all
picture?
dressed up for the rodeo night and it took like all the girls were in a nice picture together and I was
Oh,
on
I
the Zoom
love
with
you.
G and I was like, I told Jason, I'm
Oh,
like, I have to get you a picture and just Photoshop me in that so I can like move on. But that was
I
good
love
though for
you.
me that I did
Right.
stay. I did not leave her. I stayed when she needed me and I did not get, I was, I let my business go for a minute.
Oh, I love you. I love that picture doesn't define you, right? I mean, it's just a moment in time. There'll be plenty more, don't worry. We'll reinvent that picture one day because all of our outfits are so cute. We need to repurpose them.
And
But yeah, I think that has to be, we want to build a strong team. We don't want to destroy marriages and we don't want to destroy families. And it's very important. That's very important to me. On my board for years, I had hours of operation and I had to stick to them. To go at the intensity Ricky and I have been at for a decade, not because we have to, because we want to, there has to be rules. And we have beautiful kids to show for that. Are they perfect? No, right? We have normal problems every single day like everyone else does. But with someone with your discipline, I think today's the last day you should ever say that you have a problem with it again. And you just make the decision that today it's done and she comes first because you don't have much time with her, right? And if you show the same dedication that you do with everything else with her, she's going to open her heart. She's tough as nails and she's hard to get through. But I'm pretty sure when you get through her, she's like, a blow pop, really soft and gushy in the middle. But it's going to take time. You gotta suck that thing for a while for you to get to the middle,
earn it
and
back.
I think
I
that,
will.
yeah, you'll earn it back. But yeah, I mean, it's great that she has a dad that loves her. That's going to help her self-esteem and confidence with men. So it's a good place. And she's so like beautiful and not to be weird, but so well developed at a young age, right? Like that she needs that covering over her because her body does not look like she's her age. Like my daughter's 16, gonna be 17, and your daughter looks much older than her. You know what I mean? So like I think it's exactly where it's at. And you've been on such a journey, I think, of growth too as a person that your heart is gonna soften in different ways and you're gonna start to feel that, and you might not know why, So Then business wise, for me, consistency is a big thing, and urgency.
So that's where I
Like,
am with Joe, where I'm like, I did call and I left messages, then, but then I know he's busy Fridays. So I'm like, I don't want to like bother him. And then come Saturday, then he ended up having a date or whatever it was. And I'm like, here we are, we didn't connect. And I'm like, ah. So then I doubt myself of, well, maybe I should have called him again, like, but then I don't know. Then
yeah. So if
all in
somebody
my
can't get on the
head.
phone, you start doing some voice texts. I think that's always good. Like, hey, I want to catch up. Like, it's super important. Tell them the reason why. Like, I know you put out a couple of numbers, but one, I need to find out where you're at. We need to figure out how to pivot. The
Yeah.
first couple of weeks are very important. The first 4 or 5 days of your business is really important. Understanding the person, you just met him. So that's progression. But even like in little things, like, like today when, you said you reached out to the girl by email. This is an example just to kind of show you urgency.
No, I called her yesterday and left a message.
Okay, so it's Sunday. Most likely she's not there, right? And if she is, maybe she's just popping in. So urgency is calling again in the morning, so you're on her schedule twice. Not waiting to the evening, maybe she catches it, and now you're going to Tuesday, right? Urgency is like, I
After
need
the
it
Zoom, I
now.
just had all my payroll and BS work for the office this morning. So that's why I pushed it to after
Right.
the Zoom. I did talk to her and it's all done.
Okay, right. So like I think just those moments that's where I sense of urgency, and I know it's not um dying need, right? But I'm just trying to give you an example of like the way a sense of urgency will work, right? But yeah, I think that's just kind of always been the thing. And honestly, I feel like the urgency comes from just kind of like your personality, you're just really laid back. Like you're intense, but you're laid back, which those are like two words that people don't usually see together, like intensity and like really laid back.
Yeah.
It's usually kind of the both one direction, but you're like a yin and yang. So I think you're always fighting that within. You have this internal struggle, of just like where you need to be. So I would just say anytime you think that you need to do something and you give it a time or like a date or something, do it sooner. Maybe just say do it sooner.
Okay.
I think that could help. And your reach outs, how many are you doing a day? Because you're
It
pretty
varies
consistent.
from 3 to 20. I mean, it really just varies on the day.
You're really consistent with
It's
that. And you're
never zero.
consistent with your
I'll say
calls.
that.
And then, your team, you obviously have some on here that are doing the 300 in 3 weeks. So just reset. So communicating that throughout your organization and holding these girls accountable in here, that they are also having those conversations with their team. I'm thinking even, with my small time that I have at regionals, I think I might even bring that up to the whole group. As a company, I think that'd be really powerful if everyone has that same mindset. So I think if your team is in there, you'll be ahead of that, which will be phenomenal. Um, okay, so anything you want to ask me, Colleen? I know we talk a lot, so.
No, that's all good stuff. Thank you.
Okay. And this week I tried this. We haven't done this in a while. I used to do these huddles. I'm gonna go to my text thread real quick and look at the ones that sent it late. But is it helpful? Put a 1 in the chat if it's helpful hearing other people's struggles. Do you like that, or is it a waste of your time? Do you want me to do these where I give you an appointment where you just come in at certain times and we kind of like do little, you guys like it? Okay. Because sometimes when you're last or you're sitting there by yourself, I feel like sometimes things that you might not be struggling with this week, you might have heard like Tessa's struggles last week, and that might help you that week when you're going through it.
I
Helpful,
like hearing
yes.
my
So
teams too, so I know where they're struggling and can also plug in and help. So that's good.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure I'm using your time wisely. All right, I've been just going in order. If we do these, when we do them, I won't do them every single week, because sometimes we don't need it, but we might be doing different things. But when we do them, it would be great if you can have it at least 30 minutes ahead of time so I have a chance to read over it, and just really have some good feedback. But I mean, I could do it off the spot too. It's not a big deal. All right, Annalisa, you're next on the list here. Let's see. So you're having a lot of success, right? It just looks like there's a lot of wins here. You're in a good place. I mean, you just came back from Tennessee. Um, yeah. Okay, so this is where step number 4, where you've dropped the ball or where you could do better. this is probably the most important part, right? Is duplication long term, because if you're always the one recruiting, like a lot of you, well, everyone on here is great recruiters. It's the duplication is where it gets you, and that's where the residual income and the big rank comes, is learning how to take what you do and train that. Um, Checking on those who signed up to do the biz and aren't. So new people that's come into your business, and where do you feel disconnect is? They get their diamond chat, they do the 101, the planning session, the launch. After the launch, where in those steps after the launch? Okay. So are you doing a 24-hour check-in after?
Yes, I check on them weekly, sometimes like daily in the beginning, and then it moves to weekly. And then if they're just like not showing up, I mean, I have a level 1 chat where we're in there all the time. We've been doing this 90-day run, and they're just not showing up. So every single week I'll check back with them now, like, how are things going for you? And it's always just, the excuses of life. Like, it's just been busy. It's been, so, you want to give people grace or whatever. So I guess I don't know how much to push them. I mean, they saw something in the beginning, but they're just not stepping up. But they are at least in the chat and seeing the fire that is working and all of that. So yeah, I don't know how much
Okay,
time to
so
spend resurrecting people, I guess is my.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, I always say you can help 1,000, but you can't carry one on your back, right? So when you
Yeah.
say that you're checking back, so after you launch, say you launch Sarah on Thursday, you get on the Zoom, you send out all the stuff, you do the reach outs with her, and she does 10, and then you don't see anything come back in the chat the next day. Do you have a time scheduled to get on the phone that next day and speak?
No, we just voice message back and forth usually.
Okay, so that's I would call that lazy mentorship, okay? So what I want you to do is start building a relationship. I like Ashley, she's not my personal sponsor, but when we were building Knoxville a couple of months ago, I didn't text her. I got on the phone with her. Every time I can hear her voice, every time I can hear what's going on in her life, her family, the more I can listen, the more I can learn, the more I can support. So your new person is your new best friend. So what I would say is when you're on that Zoom doing the launch, schedule a 24-hour check-in. Hey, tomorrow let's talk for 10 minutes and let's just check in where you're at. If their chat is blowing up, right, you're still checking in. And then this way you get to feel where they're at. Also, you want to teach your team to answer your phone calls. Okay, and you do it right coming out the bat because you train them to answer your phone calls. It's much more powerful than in Texas. Okay, because Texas, even if their intention is to answer back, sometimes you don't. Like sometimes people send me a voice text that's really long, I can't listen to it, right? So then I put the phone down, I forget about it. Or they write me a really nice text and I just don't have the moment to write it back, So picking up the phone sometimes is weird for the younger generation because I mean one of my best friends, she is 10 years or so younger than me. And when I call her, she's like, why are you calling me? She's like, it's so weird, because she's like, she tries to adapt to me because I'm a different generation where we would pick up the phone and just have conversations. But for her, she's like, just text me. Why do you have to call me and ask me when I'm coming? Like that's just how her brain works. But she tries to deal with the old person in me. So especially younger generations, you have to train them that way. And this way, when you need them to answer, they do because they're trained to do that. Now, um, every time you're on the phone with them, it could never be wasted time, meaning you always should give them an assignment. And that's where you determine your time. And it could be the littlest assignment, like, hey, listen, go ahead and do those 3 reach outs and just screenshot whatever. Or, hey, listen, have you you saw that self-development thing video that I sent in the group chat yesterday? Can you watch it and send 3 things back to me that speak to you? Or, hey, make a list of another 15 people since we ran through your 10 and take a picture and send it to me. You always just want to check the engagement levels of that team. And then you just start looking at who's actually doing the do and then follow that line. Or if you find someone like when they first get started and they're not doing the things that they said, have some really like, you're really good at this is just pulling out the real, right? What are they struggling with? Sometimes just telling them what to do all the time is not going to get them to move. People don't care like what you do until they know how much you care. So when they know that you truly care and it's not about just a recruitment on your team and you're really there to guide them and support them, I feel like those things help with getting people to move in the business. Accountability is at different levels with every person, and you have to find an accountability that speaks to that person, right? Everyone operates differently. Some are more motivated, some are more competitive, some are more heartfelt. Some people will do it more for you, like I really believe in you, I know what you want for your family, reminding them of their why. I think those are some things that I use, when I help people get started. Dr. Colleen, she enrolled Dr. Joe, and he did all the right things. He was a really quick study, and he hasn't had a huge return rate on responses. And I know he's feeling a little deflated. One, he's a man. Two, it would deflate any of us, right? And three, he kind of thought he had a little bit more influence than I think he did. He's a doctor, so he has it. It's just not maybe as much as he thought he did. So we got to work through that. So today, me and Colleen are getting on a phone call, and this is where she's at. Exactly where you're at is where she's at, is she's doing all the things, but getting that person to do what they said they're going to do is a skill that does take work and time and a lot of self-reflection as a leader. So every time you're off of a call and you do one of those, get that person going, I want you to start reflecting on what you did good and what you can do better and what worked and didn't work, and journal that and start taking note of the things that you feel that move people. And then also identify people's love language. If you can identify those for people, and that's not by saying, hey, have you read the book, The 5 Love Languages? Do you know it? It's actually just knowing your team, right? Like I know certain people on this team is time spent, right? I know some people is gifts, and it's sometimes the way that they communicate with you, right? So I think just looking at a person as a whole will help that next level of growth in that place. And that right there is what takes you from 100,000 to a 500,000. That skill that you're learning right here is getting those people really going. Just treat them like your little baby, like just like, do you remember those little, what are they, Tamagotchis? I don't know what they were called. They were like these little circle, they look like eggs, and you'd have to feed them and everything. They would hang on like a keychain. What are those called? Do you know what I'm talking about? What are those things called? Do you know, Annalisa?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name either. It's a
Yeah,
weird
like
name.
it's
They
like
were
almost
called
putting them in your pocket.
Tamagotchis. That's what
They
they
are
were called. I
Tamagotchi?
thought.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know how my brain remembered that, but yeah, like it's like one of those things that just always have to, like, you have to baby it for like the first couple of weeks, and then eventually it starts, going on its own. So just put them in your pocket, have a list of every day you touch them. Your new people should be touched every day, because isolation does what? It's the enemy's playground, right? And you have to start training them to do self-development. 15 minutes, listen to this, tell me what you think. Get them trained on all the things like this. This is like you preparing someone for, a fitness competition. You have to start training them to do the right actions. And if you do that in the beginning, self-development, picking up your phone calls, doing small assignments, having small wins. Every single day they should be winning, not shaming. So you give them things that they can actually do, right? That they're going to be like, man, I have a little bit more self-esteem and confidence today. Every single day, if they feel that way, they're going to do bigger things, and they'll start to trust you when you push them.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
okay. Anything you want to ask me?
No, that was good. Yeah, I feel like that's been my struggle, like learning how much time to put on people to resurrect them or how much time to keep pushing them. And I think you answered all of that.
Yeah, in the beginning, there isn't a time. There's just there is response. You check the response, right?
Mhm.
And all these things, a lot of these things are excuses. Like if this person is giving you an excuse, like, oh, but I had to do this or I was that. I mean, you have to take notes of that too as well. And in the beginning, you can't actually call them out on it, but you can send them a self-development video that's going to call them out on it. So I also listen to the things that they need, and I write down, and then I look through my self-development stuff, and I send them what they need where it's not coming from me. It's third party and it's better. And then I ask them, what spoke to them to see if they even registered, because sometimes they don't even know what they're struggling with. And so I make notes, especially if I'm personally signing someone up. I have a little journal and I have their name on it and I write the things down and I just have a page for them. And so every time I get back on the phone, I just kind of start to look at their growth. And if you're not paying attention to your team in that way, you really should. Like, I know the people that I'm working with, what they need to work with, their strengths, their weaknesses, and I just pay attention. I study them because your goal is to make them the best version of themselves. That's your goal. And if you're not truly doing that and you're just getting them to make a phone call, then you're missing it because that version of themselves, they are a reflection of their bank account. So no matter how many calls they make, they're not going to have the influence, they're not going to have the wisdom, they're not going to have the knowledge, and no one's going to join them. So it's always about doing that. Look, if you were on this team and you've seen the growth of like Lisa Barron, Stephanie Stewart, Tess, like the other Vicky, throughout the years, your guys' growth has been phenomenal, like totally different people. In some areas, a shell of a person when we found you. Not like we found you inside the road or anything, but you know what I mean? Like when you came to the industry, like you were fully grown in your area of expertise. But when you peel back the curtains or peel back the layers, it's just, there's so much growth that can be had. And so I think just looking at the person and coaching them in a different way, I think will change everything. And you are an empath and you feel things, you see things, you have great social awareness. It just, I think it's just a tweak of how you see them will change it. So try it this week, and then next week let's get back together when we do one of these, and let's talk about how that's affected you. And that's for everyone. The things that we're talking about this week. I do want to see the progress of some of your struggles as well. I think that's important, how you're dealing with them and how we're overcoming them, or maybe we're not, right? And then we have to continue to dive deeper. When you get to this place of leadership, especially if you guys were if you were in the house in Tennessee, it's no longer necessarily about what to do. It's about overcoming things that are happening within, right? Any high level training that you do, it's always about having some sort of breakthrough within inside of yourself, and that unleashes something super powerful. And those are the same things that have to happen in this environment too, for you to go to that next level, because you guys all know what to do for the most part. Sometimes knowing what to do in yourself though, and taking those skills and teaching it to someone else, that bridge is hard, right? Because you can't really make that correlation. And if that is something you're struggling with, I want to have one of these Zooms next week just for that, just for getting your team moving. I want 1,000 questions. That is truly my gift, is momentum and driving depth in teams. But at my level, sometimes it's hard for me to pull it out, right? Because I'm so far from a room for that, and I can just do it. And that's why like people are like, oh, Francoise is in my leg, right? Like it's sometimes hard for me to train that, but I would love for someone to pull those things out of me, because I think that they could be valuable. And sometimes I feel like I just bury and I don't know what to do with it. So Annalisa, other than that, we're good, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Okay. You're welcome. All right. So next we have, I think it might be Amy. My phone just closed. I'm sorry, running a little bit over. Okay, Amy. All right. Okay, so now you're moving into your high network people. Do you feel like that posture has come from being in Tennessee, that you're willing to go there? Or were you doing that before?
I've actually been trying to go there since like about August. Like I just kind of realized like that because I have no trouble recruiting. But I don't get as much. I put a lot of effort in and I don't see a lot on the back end. And I think a lot of that has to do with, maybe I've been recruiting easy people or whatever, but then they also don't do a lot.
Right. Like that lady that we did this, you did a call with her, then I did a call. How did she join? She did.
Yes, she
Okay.
did join. Mhm. Yes.
So, and she wants to take the product first, right?
Yes. Uh-huh. But she, even from day one, was looking at integrating it into her business. So I think she will probably end up doing the
So
business.
where is she? So that was a couple of days ago. Has she received her
Mhm.
products?
I told her
Yeah.
to text me when she
She's
does.
like,
It takes us typically 5 to 7 days. So I don't think she's gotten it yet.
Okay.
I can check in
Yeah.
with her for
When you have
sure.
a small, yeah, so when you have a smaller team
Mhm.
that are actively building, like sometimes being ahead of it is really, really impressive. So like if you can get the tracking or know when it's coming in, right? And just know when it's showing up, sometimes it will show up at their door. They just don't open the box for 4 days. So,
Okay.
it's sometimes getting them to open the box is a thing. But taking them on that journey and pushing them along faster. I think
Okay.
that could be very helpful because you can do it right now. Your team is a good size that you can actually put that extra tender love and care into your team and do it with them. Get on them on Zoom. Find ways to make connections. People move off relationships more than they do off of like anything else, right? Be like, oh my gosh, when you get your box, let's do FaceTime. I'm so excited for you to get it.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, maybe she got 2 products. Maybe that's not gonna be as fun. But like,
Okay.
I mean, like if she had a big box or just find ways to connect with them. Especially because you are
Mhm.
some of your team are local, some are not. Um, like consistency, I think, is always a thing.
Mhm.
Strong follow-ups, get yourself in some rhythm there. When you say that you are tapping into your network, you're trying, I would change your terminology, right? Like, remember words have power.
Right.
You're really great with mindset, so words have power there. But I would question how many people are you reaching out to, like typically? Like not now that we started the run again, were you doing that before the 15 a day or did you not meet that?
No, I was probably doing more like 5 a day.
Okay. Well, you got to increase that.
Yes.
Momentum like speed.
Yeah.
And you
Mhm.
have the time. And that's
Yes.
the thing. You have the time.
Mhm.
Um, I did say when I was checking, but it's true. I would like you to try to get on a better schedule.
Mhm.
Like sleep wise, right? So that you're earlier where the world is waking up, right? Because if you're up at 12 o'clock, say, right?
Mhm.
What time do you get up? Your time.
I normally get up around 9.
Oh, 9. Oh, for some reason I thought you were a 12 o'clocker.
No. Every once in a
No.
while, I will sleep in because I'm feeling sick or something, and I'm trying not to get
Oh, okay.
sick. So I'll sleep
Oh,
until
okay.
like,
I
10 or 11.
misunderstood. Okay, I
Yeah.
misunderstood. For some reason, I thought you told me that like I sleep in late all the time, whatever. I was gonna say, well, that would probably be one
Well,
thing that could help.
8:30 or 9 for the rest of the world is late. So like people make fun of me because I sleep in late because it's 8:30 or
Uh,
9, but or
Yeah.
8
No, I
a.m.,
don't think that,
that's
I
still
don't think,
late.
yeah, yeah. I think eight's fine. If you don't have kids, like what else do you get up for? And if you're a stay-at-home mom, like if you work from home, like what else do you get up for? You know? It, yeah, the
Yeah.
rest. Okay, so that's not an issue with you. Yeah, I think just honestly, for you is increase your reach outs and the consistency of follow-ups and stuff, and just push yourself more, Amy. You're super powerful. And I think that you only go at like 60%. If you fully would turn it on to 100%, you'd be a force to be reckoned with. And I think you just have to make that decision, you know,
Mhm.
coming from Tennessee, your cup has to be full. You have huge belief. You have, so much wisdom of the profession. Um, you deserve to be a top earner. And the only one that's going to make that happen is you, and you just have to increase your numbers. And even if
Mhm.
you are getting the ones that are just buying some products, you need those, and you need the walkers, you need the runners, and you need the stoppers. You need them all. So don't look at it like, oh, I'm not getting the right ones. You're building a team, and that runner will probably, when you do get it, will ignite everyone that's not excited like you want them to be, but they'll get it from their success because it sometimes has to be other than just your own. Like I can have
Mhm.
all the success that in the world, but then we sign up someone who's new, it lights up the whole team, right? So you
Yeah.
just got to get
Mhm.
more numbers and more connects and stuff like that. So that's all I would say for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything you want to ask me?
Um, I think actually, so kind of riffing off of Annalisa's stuff. I do struggle with people with like getting them through the system. I have a lot of people that do 101, and we've had that conversation of like, hey, 101's really fast. It's like 30 minutes. Like, but like the people I'm running through it, it's like they kind of get lost in it and takes them forever. And I know we've talked about a sense of urgency, so I try to like frame things in certain kind of ways. And maybe again, it's just the people that I'm working with, but I feel like I struggle to get them through 201. Like it's a lot of prodding on my end, and I'm like, what am I missing? So
Yeah. Well, there's no reason why you can't modify that in a sense that where it works for you. Do it with them. Have, if you launch if 3 people came in your business this week and it's taking you 4 hours to get all of them through them individually, get them all on a Zoom and say, hey, let's walk through this together. Maybe it's the age group too. Sometimes the older age group, if they're older, they have a hard time with downloading things. And if you're local, do it in person. So find ways to modify that. I would probably say just walk through it, get it, pull it up on Zoom. All right, guys, everyone cannot be on their phones. They have to be on the computer, and let's get it together. And then you get them all launched together. And then you do the same thing you do that with the planning session. Then you can also do that with the launch,
okay.
you know? Yeah, I would do that. And I would be even willing to where we could shadow one together. I could do a launch with you from the beginning. So the next person you sign up that you feel that would be worth it, let me take
Okay.
you through the whole system. I'm doing that with Colleen right now too, from the sign up to the planning session to the launch. So let's just do the whole thing and let's see if you can shadow me there and pick up some things that maybe could be helpful.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Yeah, that would be really great.
Mhm. Okay, cool. All
Awesome.
right, Ted, last but certainly not least, I just did it in the order that you guys put your stuff in. That's how I kind of did it. All right, where have you been mentally? I don't know, I just do whatever I can. I love that. We need more tests. We just need more tests in my brain. Okay. Consistency 5. Yes, yes, we do have a call in 5 minutes. Gotcha, Ashley. Thank you. One big win. So, got to follow up and send and set up auto ships for my team. Are you saying that that's what you need to do, or you've done it?
I think it's a win for me that because I never didn't even put that as a priority before. So right now I'm just going back on things that I didn't do, and it's kind of starting to kind of duplicate because that's the one that I missed before because I didn't know. So I'm
Yeah.
just going back and getting them into that and making sure that I teach that to everyone that comes in.
Yeah, that's good. And if you are having some people join your team and they're not necessarily sure about building the business yet, and they come in for products, but they do want to do it, they haven't signed up for like auto ship or smart ship rather. I think you should have like a smart ship list or a alarm in your phone for somewhat close to that 28 days. So if they decide, because they're active for a month, and then after that 28 days, they're no longer active, and any volume that's accrued, they're going to lose it. So that's the way to start that conversation. Like, hey, I know you came in, you're forced active with your first order, but if you want to place an order and you do want to build the business and get team commissions and keep the volume that's in your tree, then you just want to order 1 or 2 products. You want me to help you do that, right? So take the initiative to help them do that. You can get their username and password. It should be that regular username and password, which is their first and last name, and then 3/20/25, whatever the year is. So if you know that, you can always log into their back office. And if you guys don't know to do that, you can always ask me and I can ask Nikki to help you with it. But yes, it is so important with auto ships. We learned that in the Tennessee area. Remember that, Ashley, when we had all those auto ships come through? And back then, when we launched, I guess something changed in the company where when I would send Nikki a document and to set up auto ship, she couldn't do it no more. The actual person had to do it. So we sent her 300 people and no one went on auto ship and we missed it. So we had to go back and it was so much work. But once you get it going, That's your residual income, right? So you don't want to drop that ball. So I'm so glad you're doing that. Is a massive win. I wouldn't even say a big win, a massive win. Follow-ups. I mean, we've all struggled on that because we want to just, we hear the number 15 reach outs and then we forget about them. But again, the follow-up is super, super important. Um, yeah, I mean, everyone could be doing more, right? Like we all could be doing more, but I think that, a consistency, on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're a 5 with a full-time job and all the events you're doing, it could be increased, obviously. And the more that you got to also understand, the more that you are investing in your team and teaching them to do the same, your consistency score goes up because you're duplicating yourself. Right. So if it's just you right now, your team only moves when you move. But if you have trained 5 to 10 people, I saw a video that you did the other day, and your girls were sitting there working the room. And I was so impressed. I didn't have to know what was coming out of their mouth, but you're training them. And that is probably another training we should look to do together is closing, right? Teaching, better closing techniques because I don't do that. I don't think anywhere in my training, just because I'm still so focused on the first half is really finding what you're closing, how to close by identifying the person's needs that people still struggle with to make that close. So I've always shied away from it because people would just focus on closing skills, which closing skills starts in the beginning of the conversation, identifying and being able to pull the right information out. So I think that could be something could be on the list as closing. And I see that some people are saying that would be good. But yeah, girl, I think you're doing great. I'm looking forward, to seeing you on stage on Saturday. I know a little nerve-wracking for those who are speaking. But yeah, any questions, anything for me? I know we had a conversation earlier, so.
Um, on the big win side, I think this is also, I think I'm really grateful for that I'm really able to duplicate, right? So Brenda is now doing the Latino group all by herself, and she has a team on her own. So that's really, I'm really, really grateful for that. And then of course, the Filipino team, I have probably 5 that is also really duplicating that I'm able to duplicate. So I'm really truly grateful for that too. And I just will keep on working to make sure that I can really truly duplicate, because I have enrolled a lot of people and they were just gone, right? So I want to make sure that I focus on the duplication part. So
Yeah. And as you start to build that fire back in your team, which you have, it's okay to kind of go back too and just check in. Like sometimes they feel like they feel like a failure, and so they disappear and they don't answer. And then after a while, that fear of failure becomes regret. And they see the action and they're like, man, I wish I coulda, shoulda, woulda, but I didn't. And so just reaching out and extending that olive branch, I think is kind of cool too. And hey, I'm just checking in. There's a lot of excitement on the team. We launched a new product. You should come to an event sometime. Like, you don't always have to build, the community is great. We miss you. Something like that it could spark that emotion back in them. And also let them know that you're not mad at them. A lot of times I think you get mad at them or they feel like they're a failure. So I don't want you to resurrect the dead, meaning spend all your time there. But there might be a few that had that little twinkle in their eye, and you kind of think, whatever happened to so and so? Those are the ones I usually go back to,
yeah.
and you'll know by their response. No response, a heart. Heart means thank you for thinking of me. You're kind, but no thank you. A response with a text usually means I'm curious, let's have a conversation. So, you just kind of watch how they respond. You usually can gauge whether they would be someone who could get back. Regional is a great time to bring people back because Dr. Dan's coming and he's like fan favorite, right? Like forget about everyone else. Like it's all Dr. Dan. So I think that that's a great one for those who love the product still, for all of you that are local to Jacksonville. All right. I think I have one more, and that's Vicky. Vicky, did you send your stuff in? Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. And I don't feel like I see it here. Hold on.
I did. I was in a trauma survey meeting and it was just kind of short and sweet. Just a little
You
condensed.
were up here. Okay, sorry. I
No, that's
totally
okay.
missed this. I
That's all right.
apologize. You're actually above Amy. All right. Mentally, physically stretched. Yes. I mean, You've had a lot of transition. Oh, so you have 3 new team members. How are they doing? And how are they going through the system?
One is still waiting for their products to arrive. So she's actually working today with me. So I'm going to catch up with her after I get out of this meeting. Jordan, I'm just trying to hammer down a time to do his onboarding stuff with him. And the other one is not real sure if she wants to do the business side or not. So it's just a matter of me just keeping in touch with her.
Yeah. Okay. So Jordan onboarding, is it on his side or your side that is having a hard time?
Well, probably both. So I had
Okay.
reached out to him twice and he was hunting, and then it was, he wasn't really feeling the effects of the product, so kind of unsure. But this next weekend when I'm in Gillette, I'm going to reach out to him during the week, and then I'm going to tell him I'm going to be in Gillette and maybe do a face-to-face.
Well, I mean, proactive wellness, sometimes you can't feel it. Everybody's different. I don't know the products he took or how healthy he is, but you can't feel cancer that's growing. You can't feel cancer that's not growing. And it is an epigenetic company. So you just have to maybe like reiterate that. I would probably get him in contact with like Ricky and just do a meet and greet. Let him hear. There's also a man Zoom coming up. I don't know when that is, but tonight there's a man Zoom. Get him on that. Have you
Okay.
seen that? Have
I
you
have
seen?
not seen that.
Okay.
He actually did a connect call with Ricky, so that would be
Okay,
good too.
yeah, Ricky needs to follow up with that relationship. Babe, can you send that man Zoom link to in Elite?
It might be. I haven't been able to go through all
That
of my.
man Zoom link in Elite. Okay. So what questions do you have for me?
I think the feedback that you've been giving others has really resonated with me. The things that I'm really struggling with are balance between working, living in 2 places, trying to make sure my kids feel like I'm giving them quality time, and then being able to put the time into 3 that really needs to be there. I think one of my best strategies that I haven't done quite yet is putting things on a calendar. I just need to commit to getting those things done. The 15-minute blocks that Colleen had suggested, I think will work well for me. I need to probably pre-program some of my messaging that I send out, because my days kind of get away from me. So it's just a matter of getting it scheduled and done.
Yeah, especially if you're like at your job all day, like if just think of the times when you're just on your phone at the house or you just have that free time. That's when you just want to plug it in, or driving. Talk texting is just as good as reach outs, like by text, right? Like you don't always have to write them. Like you could just start doing your reach outs, doing talk texting as you're driving home from work or to Gillette. Like you just have to figure out ways to get that in. But yeah, with Jordan, if he's willing to build, you just got to move him along because he's the one that's like ready to go. And anytime you feel like you're having a hard time getting someone going, bring an upline, right? Get a conversation, a welcome call, something other than your voice to edify you and to edify the situation, because you become like Charlie Brown. If you're not getting them to move, it's most likely they're over your direction and you just need someone else to come in with like bigger guns. Not necessarily like they're any better than you, but just another voice does help. And then the one that doesn't really not sure if she wants to do business yet. I mean, start educating her. Send her like a video of Dr. Dan and I. Send her stuff like to look at, like, oh, have you watched this? And start feeding her. You're trying to reprogram her mind and give her belief. The more belief, the better. The more belief, the better. And then I would just take all the things that you've heard from everyone else about time management. Yes. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I mean, I think that was great. I was long. Sorry. I don't know how it got that long. What time we get on? 12? 12, that's an hour and a half. Darn it. Yeah, that's long. I apologize. Hopefully it was good though. There's a lot of good stuff in here. I recorded it, so here for the people that weren't able to watch it. And I look forward to seeing, I'll do a little recap with some of my notes that I know Colleen probably took some notes too, but the things that we want to see in this chat weekly. Remember, we're starting today, tomorrow, this week, 303 weeks. If you're not doing the 303 weeks, just text me and let me know in that group that you're not taking that challenge. That's fine. But I want to know the modified challenge that you have. Okay, so if you're like, oh, I can't do the 15 a day or, X amount a week, then modify that to what makes sense for you. But you need to start a challenge in this group. Focus group. Okay.
Francoise, is
Love
it
you
just
guys.
reach
Have a
outs?
great day. Well, it's, I started in the beginning. I kind of gave you just some direction, just maybe rewatch that, but it was 15 reach outs a day. It's 300, you contact 300 people in 3 weeks. And then there's a
Okay.
couple of things
That's
like
what I thought.
these Zooms like you were doing. Okay.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
guys. Love you. I got to jump on a call. All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.